Hi everyone, I'm back with Rob Nugent, who is becoming a bit of a regular guest on the series. Probably wants to have our own little separate thing by now, but we're going to call this one Random Dad Chat. And it's born out of a conversation that we've been having a little bit over the last week or so, where we're getting to that time of year where people's goals or diaries start to get taken over by social events. Obviously, it's not far off Christmas, and everything starts to seem to revolve around going out, eating bad food, doing things that perhaps aren't part of your normal routine if you've got a good one going. So, Rob, you mentioned to me that sort of since high, you've been having a little bit of a think around this. Where are you at the minute in terms of sort of fitness and what you're working on?
Chris, and yeah, is this our third one?
Third one, mate, yeah.
Third one. And that's partly because you're organised enough to actually plan these things. I have loads of things to talk about, but only ever talk about them when me and you put something in the diary. So this, I reckon it works well. But yeah, so High Rocks came and went for me. And, I think if anyone's listened to us before, I use High Rocks as a great event to put in the diary, train with my mate, and it forces me to actually go out of the gym and start running. And it's also, obviously, it's loads of fun and good. But yeah, post High Rocks, so a couple of days off and then struggled to get back into it. And then was it 3 or 4 weeks out?
So we're talking about Rocks Birmingham here, aren't we?
How's Birmingham, wasn't it?
It was last weekend in October, so believe it or not, that's like a month ago now. So
yeah.
It just shows, doesn't it, how the days become weeks and the weeks become months if you're not careful.
So, still training, but not really training. If you know what I mean. Like, even last week, I trained 3 times, but I didn't feel like I trained. On Tuesday morning, I tried to do a workout without really warming up and hurt myself. It was all right in the end, but I thought my back went into when it does that, it goes into spasm. My God, you're an idiot. Everything that I tell people not to do, I've done. A typical coach's workout. Got 5 minutes, I'll do something. But yeah, just feels clunky, it feels groggy. And I'm putting a lot of that back down to just not dialing in my nutrition as well as maybe I would normally. Now, maybe a bit less sleep. We've got a lot going on. The children, we've got 3 kids under 10. So we've got 10, 8 and 4. So they're busy, and which means that sleep's not always a premium, and probably the one thing I could work on a little bit better. But because I have an audience in the gym of, sometimes 50, 60 people in a day go through our classes that I'm engaged with, there seems to be a little bit of this, just slowing down towards Christmas. And I'm scared of me kicking the can down the road till January. I'm certainly trying to help our members at OL1 not sort of just slow right down and come back in January. I'm certainly trying to encourage people that are thinking about getting fit in January to maybe make a start now, so it doesn't become such a big deal if they've got a few nights out planned and whatnot. But the reality is that I am going through that myself. And so this morning I set my alarm for dead early. I was going to go on the 5:45 a.m. class, which as a member I was going to jump on the class. Snoozed, got up about 5:45, messed about. So I've been to the gym. I've actually done it. I decided I was going to dial in my habits and start day 1, 2 day of do all the things that I teach people to do myself again. And so far, so good. But yeah, if we can help some people sort of navigate this next few weeks, I think that's what the point of our conversation is. So yeah, see what we can do to help them out.
I think it's just normal, isn't it, for this time of year? Like, whether you like it or not, Christmas in the UK now is almost like a 6-week event, isn't it? Like, from this point in November through to 1st of January, that is the principal focus of people, isn't it? Like, particularly those who've got kids or family that are going to be sort of perhaps celebrating it to a larger extent. And yeah, like, events start populating your time in the diary, don't they? And it just takes your attention away from sort of where you want to be beyond that time scale, doesn't it, if you're not careful? I mean, it's definitely something that I've felt in the past. Like, December just seems to go by in this click of a fingers, and before you know it, you might have it's not even a case of staying where you are. You feel like you've gone backwards a little bit. So you mentioned there you've started again day 1 today. What are some of those things that you have, I promise yourself you'll focus on not to lose the impetus to sort of stay involved over December?
Yeah, so it's just these simple daily habits, nothing groundbreaking, nothing particularly exciting, but it's to make sure we get enough sleep. So I teach people to get enough sleep, but not lying to the point where life becomes stressful. So it's like, go to bed a bit earlier and get up a bit earlier, so that if that your day isn't going as well as it could do. Like in the morning, there's a bit of traffic, or the kids are playing up, or you've not ironed your shirt, or I don't know, you need to defrost your car, or whatever it is. You've got a bit of wiggle room in your day. So my point on sleep is not necessarily to get whatever the internet tells you need to get, but just sort of shift it back a little bit so that you're not running around like a maniac before you've even seen anybody at work, before you even tried to go to the gym or interact with your family. You've just got yourself 20 minutes, half an hour to sort yourself out. Whatever you need to do. Doesn't mean sit in cold baths and do journaling necessarily. It just means set your day up properly, and maybe just peel back that extra episode on Netflix or whatever it is, and go to bed. Like be a grown up and do what you tell your kids to do, and go to bed when you should go to bed, not when you fall asleep on the sofa. Drinking enough water, pretty simple stuff. Try to dial in the nutrition. I love cake. Me and you, we don't bother with beer anymore. But tell you what, someone offers me a cake and I'll take it. And I worked out I'm probably on 3 or 4 cakes a week rather than just a treat when we're out. I've been eating. This is public thinking, but the branded protein bars.
Yeah,
I've been having them instead of breakfast, instead of actually making some breakfast. Now, there's nothing wrong with them as an emergency snack, but 3 or 4 in a week when I could just have some porridge and fruit, probably just get used to eating actual food again. And increasing my fruit and my veggies and prioritising the protein. It's not that ridiculous on the nutrition that I want to help people with. It's just, if you make most of your own meals, you can go for the odd meal out. I think it's important to help contribute to other people's days, like be nice to people. So when I speak to like little groups of businesses and stuff, I'm like, you're all lovely when you're sat in front of a client or a contact or you're trying to, do your networking, but were you nice to the lady in the petrol station this morning when you were in a rush? Did you say hello to some people in the school playground just for the sake of saying hello, or are you just so busy in your own little world? And, you can make someone's day pretty easily just by being a good human. So that's one thing that, just a dead simple, isn't it? Say hello to someone or, tell someone they've done a good job. Stretching, my hamstrings and hips are, I feel like about 900 years old. And I keep saying, I'm going to do my stretching tomorrow. And then I don't. And then I wondered last Tuesday why I'd hurt myself, because my hamstrings are about that long.
Yeah, that's something that the mobility and recovery, something that are easily missed off sort of the schedule, aren't they? Like the amount of benefit 10 minutes of stretching or mobility work would do per day would make a massive difference over time, wouldn't it? But it's so easy just to sort of neglect that.
I mean, you'll have all the. In fact, I know you've got all the gear at your house, haven't you? You've got your foam rollers, you've got your bands, you've got your little lacrosse balls and little massage guns and stuff. I don't know if you follow Dr. Kelly Starrett, but he wrote The Supple Leopard a few years ago. He's got a YouTube channel called The Ready State. Whatever you want to stretch, type it into there. He's got a video for you. I listened to a podcast with him a bit ago, and he was saying, if nothing else, just don't sit on your sofa. When you're watching telly, just sit on the floor. And the fact that you've got to get up and down a few times to go make yourself a cup of tea or like attend to anything, there's probably more mobility than you would not normally do. And certainly as soon as I sit on the floor in the living room, I start stretching because I've got nothing else to do. Whereas when I sit on my sofa, I can look at my foam roller and just not go near it, just watch it gather dust. And like you say, it's 10 minutes, isn't it? It's 10 minutes. You don't need to go to, you can do, but you don't need to go to Pilates or yoga or whatever. Just do some stretching most days.
Yeah. Well, I took it a step further. Got suckered in after High Rocks, and I treated myself to a pair of these, the recovery boots. And I have been getting into the habit of like using them for like 20 minutes a day. And whilst it's just your legs, like it has made a massive difference to me. Used to get a lot of pain in my calves after running and some gym sessions, and those things have been like a revelation. I thought it might be a bit of a gimmick, but they've really helped.
I think you've done. It's what I meant to say. It depends where you're at in the how much you need to recover.
Yeah,
it's like that old adage of a deload week. Well, to have a deload week, you've had to have had a few load weeks. Yeah. Same with recovery, isn't it? You've got to find something to recover from.
Yeah.
But, I've noticed, Matt, that some of the things that I do are jumping over a box has become slower. Not because I'm 43 now, but because it's harder work to get my knees up above my hips to get over the thing because I've not been doing my mobility. It's nothing to do with my fitness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's every day that goes by, it's something that, as we get a bit older, should be becoming more and more of a feature of the day, shouldn't it?
especially if you're going doing some sort of, if you're doing intense style exercise. What I mean by that is you're not just jogging around the block for half an hour, which there's nothing wrong with. But if you're doing, an hour of pretty decent graft, a bit of strength and a bit of a workout at the end, or however you structure it, and then going back to sitting at your desk, being in bed or driving your car for the other 23 hours, you're going to feel tight and stiff, aren't
you? Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, it has a knock-on effect as well, doesn't it? Like, on both ends of the scale. If you want to be just sort of simply getting out of the house to move a little bit more and you're feeling stiff, it can put you off. Or opposite end, if you're looking to sort of improve or boost performance and you're turning up stiff, it's just not going to give you any head start to sort of getting the most out of sessions, is it?
And you get more comfortable in that slouch position as well, don't you? So you become more and more slouch, more and more tight. Whereas if you have been doing some mobility, the way that you drive your car is a little bit different. You're a bit more conscious of how you fall asleep. You're a bit more conscious about how you're sitting on the sofa or not, as we just sort of said. You just become a bit more aware of how your body is positioned in the world, I think. So yeah, it's been a bit of it's only what I say I put on Instagram this morning is just day one of the stuff I teach people of diving into that. And what I'm trying to do, and you do this pretty well, is like, be a normal, we're just normal blokes. And I don't think we are any fitter or healthier than most people should be. Is it all right if most people do 45 minutes to an hour of exercise 4 or 5 days a week and do a bit of stretching and tend to, eat mainly the food that they've made themselves and eat the right amounts of it? Is that, should that be normal, or is that for health freaks?
It's definitely, I think that should be the norm, and I think everyone would feel better if they did do that, wouldn't they? And I think it is difficult. A lot of what we talk about is the balance point, isn't it? And how you get to a position where you can sort of dedicate enough time to yourself, whether that's like for health and fitness or mental clarity, and still sort of keep up with all your other responsibilities, whether that be career, family, other relationships. It's difficult, isn't it? So some of these things that you're talking about, you said like you were doing those better or more consistently when you had Hyrox in the diary. Like, what's the difference between then and now, other than not having an event on? Like, what makes you comply with this sort of set of rules you've almost set yourself for the day?
Well, so myself and Stu, who I train with, one of the coaches at the gym, also a dad. He's in the police. He's busy. Does a few hours coaching at our place, and we've entered another competition for sometime in February, which is more of a CrossFit style competition and 4 workouts through a day. But we've got to submit. We've got to submit qualifiers. So they've sent us a load of workouts to do. And before the 23rd of December, we have to submit them, and that will then get us ranked on the day so that we'll be competing against people of our level. There's some things that we're not going to be very good at. Handstand walks and bar muscle-ups, I think, are one. But then there's, so you sort of will find our way and find our level for the day. But we don't want to just settle for where we're at. So we're training to get through the qualifiers. Then we've got the Rainhill, it's called the Rainhill event. I think it's at Sport City. If it's not Sport City, it's at the Bolton Arena. And it's open age, and we're both in our mid-40s, so we want to make sure that we're representing. So that's in the diary. First of all, it's cost us £100 each,
Yeah,
just like sporting events do.
You've got some like skin in the game with that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've got like accountability to each other because you want to achieve a certain standard.
I've put it out there on social media now, and I know like people will take this however they take it. When I put myself out there on social media saying I'm going to do it, I imagine 1,000 people are waiting for me to not do it. So I've got to do it, Anna. We've got the CrossFit Open coming up in March next year, and for the last couple of years, I've got through to that next bit, which is called the quarterfinals, and then literally come the bottom of the quarterfinals. So that's in May. They've just released the date, so I'm like, well, if I can get through that first bit, I've got till May to get like proper, really good, and that is age category. So I'm already sort of halfway into next year, and that's just given me. I only read this article the other day when the company released the dates for what they call the season, just like Hyrox has got a season, and the season starts with everybody in a CrossFit gym does these 3 workouts in just after Christmas, February, March, and then that filters down then to what you see on the telly, back end of the year. Yeah. I'm like, you know what, I fancy. there's some things that have just stopped me. For me, the gymnastics. Never did gymnastics as a kid. I find it a little bit harder to coach than maybe some of the other stuff. I find it more difficult to train for because it's a long journey to be able to do some of this stuff. And it's why a lot of people do switch off CrossFit from time to time, because they're like, I'm a busy dad of 3 and I'm doing all messing around with all these rings and these bar muscle up things. I'm never going to be able to do them. Actually, I think that'd be pretty cool to be able to demonstrate just a few reps of them, because I've shown 6 months of hard work. And that's where, being an example to the people that we coach of working hard on these skills. And so yeah, just accountability to Stu, accountability to the members of the gym, accountability to and showing that, even when you're a little bit older, like I am, well, relatively older than, say, a 22-year-old, that you can still make progress in all this stuff.
Yeah, what you've just described there is like goal setting, isn't it? It's like you've got something on the horizon, whether it's the bits in January or May, that is like up to 6 months away, and it sounds like you've worked back from that in terms of milestones you can hit on the way. So you've got like a goal, haven't you? And then you've set a bit of a plan around it. And that's what a lot of people are going to start thinking about now, isn't it? Coming up to like Christmas and New Year and thinking about goal setting. So from your experience, I know you've been sort of lifestyle and sort of getting a better balance of lifestyle. Like, how have you changed your approach to like goal setting, or what are some of the things that you think somebody who perhaps hasn't set big goals in the past, or even just a small one, could do, or how do you structure goals to make sure that they become a little bit more achievable and enjoyable along the way?
So yeah, that's first of all is don't wait till January, because if you want a good January, you've got to start now.
Yeah, but you can give yourself such a good head start, can't you? Even by not going backwards in December.
So yeah, I'll teach. There's a goal setting thing, and then after this, just remember me to come back to before we go that. How to look at December in terms of food and nights out and stuff. So we'll come back to that in a minute. But in terms of goals, I work a really simple model. It's called the GROW model. I've not invented it. It's out there. Google it. And it's GROW. You've got G for goal. What do I want? You've got R for reality. Where am I in comparison to that goal? You've got the opportunities, like what potential things could I do to get to that, to make that goal a reality? And then you've got W for the work. What needs to be done? What are you actually going to do from those opportunities to get you either towards that goal or to hit that goal? Now, me and you have both got our own little systems, haven't we? You've got Graft, I've got some of the stuff that I've picked up, and a lot of it is just like most people don't know what the goals are. So I'm going to start eating better and go to the gym in January. Well, that doesn't mean anything, does it?
Yeah. No, and it's like what are you doing that for as well? Like what I think you need to, the thing that I've learned with goal setting is I've performed much better or achieved them more where it's been something really specific to me as opposed to just generic ones like lose weight, get fit, run faster. It's just you need to get really specific, don't you? And if it is about losing weight, it's why, or if it's because you want to get fit, it's because you want to hit a 120 high rocks, or like you need to have like something that's measurable as well, don't you? And there's like the smart method of goal setting as well, isn't there? Which is another popular one. Which is it? What is it like? Specific, measurable. I forget the other one.
Achievable. Yeah, it's good anyway.
Yeah.
Smart, but also like you're in the coaching world now, and you will have people coming up to you and say, "Right, I'm 100 kilograms. I'll be happy when I'm 81."
Yeah. Where have you got that from?
Where's 81? Why not 82? Why not 80? Where's 81 come from? Oh, that's what weight I was when I got married. When did you get married? 35 years ago. Right. Like, you can't do that. And also, I'm going to put this the right way. No one's ever happy. You're not going to become instantaneously happy when that becomes, when 100 kilograms goes 81. You've got to enjoy the process. You've got to enjoy doing whatever it is that you're doing. You've got to like the food that you're eating. You've got to enjoy the training that you're doing. You've got to enjoy the people that you're doing it with. Otherwise, you're just on a short-term thing, aren't you? And I know we've got hit on weight loss here, but it could be for anything, couldn't it? It could be how much you want to earn. Everyone wants to earn 100,000. Why not 90? Why not 110? What is it that's a figure of, I don't know, like, but there's other little goals, isn't there? Date night, go and see one of your mates for a coffee, phone your someone in your family you've not seen for a little while. I don't know.
I think that, yeah, that's exactly where like Graft spawned from, because
Yeah,
I've gone and done most of the things that you've described there. And yeah, like you say, like that's not where the rewards are. It's in the coffees, the random coffee that you get to have on the way to a site inspection and find a new place, or yeah, like date night, going seeing a film with your wife because the grandparents have said that they'll have them during the day, and it gives you a few hours to go and play with, or just going doing something new that's a little bit out of your comfort zone. Like they're the things that stand out, aren't they? Like not getting a little bit of a pay rise and seeing it land in that first paycheck, because inevitably it's never as good as it actually seems once the taxman's had his hands all over it anyway, is it?
but it could be to some people. But it's not like your goals have to be your goals, not what you think are goals just to say.
Yeah.
Starting it now, end of November into December, aren't we, as we record this? We've got around 150 meals between now and the end of the year, I think. Yeah, 3 breakfast, dinner, and lunchtime, 6 weeks. Is that about right? Can some of them be a night out? Can some of them be a really nice meal with your mates? Can some of them be your Christmas dinner? Are you really gonna edit your Christmas dinner?
No, of course not.
No. Can some of them be a bag of chips after you've had a few beers with the lads on a night out? Of course it can. Can it be a curry with some clients from work who've invited you out and you're not quite sure? Yes, of course it can, because there's 150-ish other opportunities to do it right. And the same goes with the training. So you're not going to train now between now and I think Monday is the 6th of January. So you're not going to train now and the 6th of January, where you're going to be taking your tree down so you can't train. So you're going to do nothing in between now and then. So if you were training 5 times a week, you're going to go from 5 to 0, really, because you've got to go to the Christmas markets, you've got to go to the Trafford Centre with the kids, you've got to go on a couple of works night out. If you think about that 6 weeks, yeah, you put a little bit more in the diary. You might train a little bit less, but that's better than just shelving it or waiting. We have we've got a membership at the gym, and people can come every day, or they can come once a week, and the people who come more get more value for the money. But it doesn't mean that going 3 or 4 times a week isn't worth doing if you really want to go 5 or 6, in my opinion. So yeah, I suppose it was just helping people navigate this next few weeks and do your goals now. And if you don't know what to do, sit down with a pen and paper or somebody and start really thinking about 2025 before it's here.
Yeah, I think that's I think it might have been the last episode that I did, just questions to ask yourself around goal setting, because I think if you set off with the wrong goal or something that's not specific enough to what it is you're trying to achieve, it's easier just to sort of drift off from it, isn't it? But you can get super clear on an outcome and then work back from that, like you have with your sort of May event that you're focusing on. You've already sort of, perhaps without realised, described milestones where you're going to do the work to get to somewhere that will set you on the right path to achieve what you want to do in May. And it's without that sort of end goal, that doesn't happen, does it? And you just otherwise might find yourself in February or whatever and thinking, oh, I've sort of not made best use of the last couple of months.
Yeah, or get into that last bit, like somehow get through to that last bit of that event, and then be gutted that I didn't do the work to go any further.
Yeah.
So back on it today. Now me going to train in the day is not balanced, is it? Because what have I done? I've not done work, but doing it made the start. So yeah, I sacrificed 1 hour of my working day to go make the start on my kickstart fitness journey. I feel a million times better. I'm really proud of myself. I've come home. I've had chicken and salad for my lunch. I'm going to do the kids now, crack on with a bit of work when they get back, and then it's all kicks off with kids' activities and a Zoom call I've got later on with the team. If I'd not done that today, I'd have been annoyed, and I probably wouldn't be as productive as I will be moving forward. And then, tomorrow train, and it's just ticking them off each day. Did I do this and this today? Think. And, if I didn't, it's not the end of the world. Just make sure we pick it up again tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's, you said you've spent an hour, but you might get that back now because you feel as though you're sort of back on it. And like you mentioned there, productivity, didn't you? If you can get these bits under your belt each day, it puts you in a better place mentally, doesn't it?
There's a reason you see all these personal trainers and coaches doing little videos sweating, because that's where they feel most confident. That's where the endorphins are making them feel, you know what, I'm just going to put my camera on and tell everyone this thing I've been thinking about. And, you might look at, whoever it is, look at them with a top off, or look at, whatever you might be thinking of that person at that time. But transform that into your world. You've just done something really hard, or you're really proud of, in the gym, or you went for a run at lunchtime, or you've walked whatever it is that you're doing. You believe that event in a different mental state.
Yeah.
You are more confident. You are proud of yourself. Something's happening with the chemicals in your body that makes you, what? And I'm not saying people on this call have to go start doing little selfie videos every time they go to the gym or walk with a dog, but you'll feel better for doing it.
Yeah. Accomplishment gives people massive impetus to go on and do more, doesn't it? And I think it's almost not this talks about high rocks in this episode, which might be a first for this podcast, but the biggest transformation I've seen in people in the last few years are the ones that are doing a high rocks for the first time before they go to that start line and after they finish it. It's like someone's just come and like injected 100 times of the confidence into them. I think there's probably doing hard things and seeing yourself do that and going through the process just builds a little bit of resilience, doesn't it? And makes you think sort of, well, what else can I apply this to in life?
You know what? Those events, whether it's high rocks, whether it's Tough Mudder, whether it's a Great North Run, whether it's entering, a CrossFit competition, that allows normal people to feel in the moment like an athlete. They step into a start line like it's just class in it, and they've worked hard to get to the start line. They're on the start line. They're going to give it everything they've got, whether they do it in 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever, it doesn't matter, does it? But they are treated like and feel like an athlete. And once you get that buzz, that doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's how it doesn't have to, like you said, it doesn't even have to be a fitness related. Even if you can just build a habit of reading 10 pages a day on something that puts you in a better state of mind. Like, these are the little things that sort of trigger the next thing, don't they? Or if I can read and be disciplined reading 10 pages a day, what else can I do? Can I get out and walk X amount of steps, or be a little bit better with what I'm eating? And it just triggers sort of leveling up in different areas, doesn't it, for a lot of people?
Yeah, it's all personal development. It's what time we're on. We need to go for a school run. But, like, obviously I've got this, my home-based business, and that's about developing people. And the first time they develop might be just to unmute themselves on our team Zoom call and say, look, Chris, tell us what you've been doing this week, and you've had some success in this area. And you go, yeah, I've been doing this, and I've read this book, and this has resulted in this happening in my little business. You go, right, okay, cool. Then the next might be, they get to do a little testimonial at the in-person event. And in 5 years' time, they're presenting, and everything's personal development, isn't it? And you don't have to be born to be a presenter, a speaker, an athlete. Most people didn't do sport at school, which is why when you get them into the environments that we do our coaching in, or I do my business in, you're allowing them to make up for that lost time and know what that feels like. So I think what we're doing is great. Not everyone has to do this stuff, by the way. You are allowed to just train and be happy and be a healthy person. But once you get a taste for it, you might just decide you want to sort of, put a marker in the sand, enter a thing, and then you've got to set your goals.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to go from 0 to 100 though, do you? I think that's something that's really important. Like, just either what that's why like 1% better every day is good, and like don't have 2 bad days in a row, that sort of thing. It just gets you started, doesn't it? And you can build from that. Once you sort of give yourself a little bit of evidence that you can make progress, that's when things really start to gain a bit of momentum, and real progress starts to take hold.
Absolutely.
I know you're talking about balance. You've got to get off and get the kids.
It's really calm and collected, pegging it down the road to go and collect them all. But yeah, I'm going to shoot off, mate. But thank you so much for that again, Chris. And some of this stuff is just bouncing off the right people. Me and Chris, we speak quite a bit, don't we? And sometimes it is like, I need to get back in my training. Right, then go on then. And likewise. And we chuck some ideas about, and then all of a sudden we're talking about what we did.
Yeah, but it wasn't long ago that we were saying to each other in a quick WhatsApp, we need to start talking about this a little bit more. And since then, we've had 3 chats. Like me personally, I think it's like 13 or 14 podcast episodes now. So it's just it's building up from nothing, isn't it? Like you don't go from 0 to 100. You just got to take that next step and just keep going.
Absolutely.
Good place to finish, mate. I'll catch you later on.
Chris.
Cheers.
All right, take care. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.